Hi, Nemanja. So glad to see you in person.
Hey man, good to connect, the person and the voice and in flesh, as somebody would say.
Yeah. So may I just say, we've all like our entire team, we've been following you like for like I think 4 years or something. Like I've seen you like for years, literally. And I don't know how you managed to be so consistent, but basically, you were one of the few inspirations in demand generation for me, for Eugene, my partner, and basically for many people I know, and but not many people in my community know about you, so that's why we initiated this and wanted to ask you some silly questions.
Sounds good. I like silly. That's good. I mean, thanks for the kind words. Appreciate it. Look, if I look back, I think I'm posting since 2012 or 13 on LinkedIn. And I mean, I wasn't that consistent in posting every day, but I think since 2016, 17, I'm doing it, and I'm empowering my teams at the time to do it. And that was kind of a struggle, because I needed time to understand that I need to hire people for that if I want to do that as a company, not to just say to the people, hey, this is how we operate today, this is your checklist, go ahead and do these things. But what thing that initiated all of it was the change in a Facebook algorithm, when you couldn't see. I think it happened in 2017, when you couldn't see pages in the feed. They had separate feeds. So I said to people, okay, we're going to now use personal brands, and people employed in the company will be the biggest influencers of that company.
Yeah, this is such a shift, and you did this like ages ago. Whenever I tell people, people follow people, not brands, unless you're some sort of Apple or whatever. Yeah, and nobody believes me, but you've been doing this for like decades.
Yeah, I mean, since I founded Funky Marketing in 2020. I went into the B2B. I wasn't in the B2B before, but I saw the shift that was happening from lead gen to demand gen. And basically, I always say to the people these days, because I'm the only one doing this in the Balkans region, right? When somebody says B2B, they tag me or mention me. But I'm not somebody who knows everything, right? I still need to learn a lot of things. I'm 39 and I'm doing strategic consulting, which is mind blown. I'm too young for that. But I was just in the right place at the right time, and I saw some things that other people didn't see for some reason. And communicating that and doing that got me in a place where I create a lot of awareness, a lot of we can call it demand, we can call it brand, however it is. It's the mixture of all those things, but it gets me, inbound clients. It gets me into different opportunities, partnerships, and and get me into these kind of conversations.
And here we're coming to our first silly questions. So it sounds something like: is demand generation alone enough, or these days, I mean, or should a company be doing something additional like email outreach or whatever? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, there's a complicated answer to that. First one is, usually when you say demand generation, it usually gets into the three phases, right? It consists of demand creation, which is actually if the company you're targeting are not in the market, you need to create demand for them, and when they come to the market, you are the first on top of mind. There is demand closure or closing the demand, which is companies that are already in the market, looking already indicated, knowing what they are looking for, and basically you're here just to appear in the places and close that demand. And there's a demand closure, which is basically something that I think a lot of the majority of companies needs to do, and that is when you have competitors which are huge, already created demand, there's already traction, so you need to appear in the places where your customers are and say, hey, instead of choosing Microsoft, choose us, we are better fit for this and that. And then basically you're guiding them into sort of like a subcategory of yours. And when we look at from that perspective, then basically we say, okay, majority of companies don't need to create demand. There's enough demand, even like that few percent of companies at Google that you can close is enough to get millions in revenue for the majority of them. Then, and that's the first thing that you do, right? You first try to close demand. If there isn't enough demand, then you create demand. And that demand creation and those things different, came as expressions, mainly because the way we buy in B2B has changed. So we now spend more time on social than we actually spend doing our work. We have every person in the world away from us just a message, 2 or 3. We can message them now. If they respond, that's different thing. We have small communities on Slack, on Discord, on Reddit. When there's sales, marketing, even demand generation, there are a couple of communities doing only that. So then we have like 10 people that we trust over there in those communities. We can ask them. And the last one is, we have 2 or 3 people that we trust, that we can just pick up a phone and call them and say, do you know this agency? Do you know this product? Do you know this person? And basically what marketing needs to do is, create reverse engineering and basically get you into the position that your name pops up when those conversations happen, right? And that's what I call, demand creation. Now, when we look at it from the company's perspective, that's actually interesting because there are a lot of biases in the companies when they buy. So let's say a CTO needs to buy a tool to help him something with development, right? So he said one day, come up and say, hey, Alex, go ahead, and it's finally time to solve these things. And he thinks, okay, before he comes to you, he said, do I have anybody on top of mind that I can hire for that? Do I know anybody that has relation to that? If not, then he comes to you and say, Alex, find me the best product for this. And then you go on Google and you type the best product for that. You find the list and you get the 3 of them. You get them to the CTO. You choose one of them, and basically you pay the tool, you use it, and after a couple of months, you see that it's not a fit. And then the CTO asks, why did we actually buy this product? And who got them? And he said, Alex, why did you get this company, to work with us? And you say, you told me to find the best one. And I went to Google and I find the best one. So you can go and check it out yourself. So Alex, in this case, you're protecting your ass, right? Protecting your job, because this is what you do. You can check it out. That's it. I mean, and in that whole process, there are a couple of nuances, which means the CTO may say that's an expensive one, so we're going to stop it, or he may quit. Other CTO may come in. It's not the first thing that they do. They buy a product, right? So there's a lot of things that can last from a couple of months to a couple of years until that process is proven. But the thing is that when they go to the Google and type in the best one, basically by B2B LinkedIn Institute data, 77% of everything from Google comes to the category leader. So the one who actually created, everybody else are fighting for 23%. And when we have in mind that 95% of the companies are not in the market to buy, as I said, from 3 months to 2 years. For some more expensive product, it's even once in 5 years that you are buying them. Basically, out of 5%, you are fighting for the rest of the world for 22% out of 5%. So there is this GIF that says, it's actually too small. Right. So, and I don't tie, I want to say also this, I don't tie demand creation to creating a category. I think that in a specific category or subcategory, if you know how you are differentiating yourself, position the right way, how you are communicating, how is your messaging, you can create demand for yourself or for your company inside the existing category or subcategory, basically get more traction for you than anybody else.
Cool. So when do we do email marketing then?
Like
I'm joking. For a small
no,
company.
that's good. Let me tell you something. A lot of companies, the first thing, I was recording a podcast the other day with Andrew Davis, and we were talking about exactly these things. So early stage companies usually make a mistake because they want to get to the revenue as fast as possible. But in the early stages, there is one thing that's more important than the revenue, which is data and insights. And sure, you do the outreach, you do the cold calling, you do through the email, you do through the calls, however it is, you do through LinkedIn messaging. But what you do on those conversations, it's important. And this is what I want to say. So usually the companies go and try to close to sell on every conversation. But in the early stages, the best thing that you can do is you get the insights from them, get to know your customers. Is your product the right fit? For example, if you are early stages, you don't know in which niche you're going to go yet. You don't know who are your customers. You don't know which features you want to develop. You don't want to develop all of them, and then you see that they are not a fit. So from those first initiated conversations, you need to find, this amount of companies need this feature, and I need to, based on that, I need to focus on that niche. So when you know that, when you have, okay, now you come back and you say, I have this feature. Now I can use the outreach to actually sell some of the things, right? So those are important things. But if you do the outreach and before that you have actually built the personal brand or the company brand, or it takes time to build the brand, let's say 2 years. So maybe you build an awareness in that phase, or you have a perception that you have a brand. This is what we had in 2020, right? People compare us with Refine Labs. We are not even close to them, but we were all around the place on LinkedIn, and it seems like we have a brand. So when somebody does the outreach and they see the name of the company or the name of the person that they know from the LinkedIn feed, for example, it's much easier for them to answer the call or answer the email or get into the conversation, right? Because they know you, they've seen you somewhere. It seems familiar, and at least you're not going from -0, you're going at least from 0, and your chances are much better. Because if you only do the outreach, basically sales is, I have a huge respect for sales, because in one cold call, they are creating the demand and converting the demand, which is extremely hard. If marketing is doing their job, they basically just close the demand, and it makes their job easier because they talk to the people who already have awareness. They came to them knowing that, I have this problem. I know who is solving that problem. I know why I'm picking exactly this company, and I'm going to their website to schedule a call. And when I schedule the call, basically sales isn't talking to somebody who is just MQL. So somebody downloaded the ebook or PDF or whatever it is, but they actually, are talking to somebody who clicked and say, I want to talk with sales because I want to buy. And then you don't need like 10 or 12 people in sales. You need just 2 or 3 that are more experienced and knows, they know what they are doing, and they can just close the existing demand that's over there, by, demand that we are creating. So that from one side. From the other side is they can use their spare time to go and do the outreach, something that marketing isn't doing, right? So and then basically the one differentiator that you have in the time when we are living, when there's everybody has the software, right? All the companies seem the same, everybody has the same technology, but the way buyer's journey goes, the way we enable our customers to come to us, that's the differentiator, right? And if you use the old model, then basically you have somebody who is SDR, who has the goal to actually schedule the calls. So the goal is, let's schedule as many calls as possible. They don't care about the quality. So that's the first step. So for example, they create a relationship with a person, and when it's time for that person to buy, They say, now you need to talk to a different person, AI, who comes in, account executive, and they need to close the sale, somebody that you don't know. So then we break the trust. Then we have customer support. On the other hand, if we go, marketing is the first one even before the SDR. So it's kind of like in a factory on a track. You go step by step, and you have so many opportunities to break the trust of the customer, right? And from that perspective, that is something that is game changing, and that's why I say we need to create a relationship with the customer and go and meet them halfway. You mentioned, Netflix and other people in other companies. I like to look at Netflix and Airbnb because they are paving the way, right? Because Netflix goes and meets their customers halfway. They give you suggestions based on what you have already watched on the platform, what you should watch next. They give you the report. Like, I have my nephew on my channel, so I know they give me the report once a week, which cartoons is he's watching. Are those like the turtles, or it's the animations or something else. And on the other hand, you have Airbnb, who is not just giving you the accommodation. They give you what to do in the city, what events you can visit over there. They give you what else you can visit in the surroundings. A lot of different stuff. And now they're building even the community. So they go and they meet you half the way. It's not you just sit down and wait for the customers to come to you. So yeah, that's the 10-minute answer to your question.
Yeah, the examples you provided were of this, like, well, I would say monopolists, yeah, in their industry. But what about small outsourcing company from whatever, and who are like service company, yeah, who are like 10 to 20 people who don't have such brand, like, what do they do? Like, I mean, yeah, creating demand and creating awareness, yeah, that's about, let's give it 2 years. But meanwhile, something has to be happening. You mentioned that they should be measuring the moods of their people, basically of their target audience, and like trying to do some tests, run some tests with come in with smaller questions, smaller requests, like find out whether they need this at all. What else is there?
Let me tell you. So there are a couple of things. First one is, I'll go through my example. So when I started Funky Marketing, it was just the two of us. The second person dropped out in the first month because he wanted to cash in right away. But we created the landing page while we were creating the website. So we didn't even have the website. And we were working in the agency in startups before, and it was all part of different companies, right? So we can only use those examples and say, hey, these are the things that we worked on while we were in different companies. It wasn't only us, right? So we created a strategy. It's 32, 34 pages document, when the examples are exactly the project that we worked on, right? So when somebody goes to the website, they can see only, leave the email, we'll send you the strategy. And basically that's it. There's nothing else. It's not a huge landing page. It's just a small one. And there is 5 steps, 5 emails follow up. When actually in the first email, we just give them the strategy. They can go and implement it without us. But we tell them you're going to get 4 more emails, in which, the second one is that we go from the strategy and then we slowly transition to our services. Right. So we go, and that the third one is that we talk about the companies that we were, how do we help them. The fourth one is the testimonials, and the fifth one is we gave you all that. Now it's time for you to convert. And based on I had a personal brand before I started the company. So from that perspective, when I say, okay, this is what I'm building now, we had, 2 clients converting the first night. From that perspective, the personal brand, or you have any awareness, helps, because you talk about your journey, you find the answer, and basically align everybody with your journey. There's always somebody going one step behind you. And for example, somebody didn't ever recorded a podcast episode. You are recording one, you are one step ahead. Somebody didn't ever apply for a job, you did. You can share that experience. Like when I started Funky Marketing, I didn't know which bank I'm going to choose. So I asked, and people, didn't give me the answer. That's kind of interesting. They didn't give me the answer, but when I say I choose this one, they say you fucked up. And I said, but I asked, right? So, that's the first thing. The second thing is, you can, from that standpoint, I didn't have experience in B2B. So I can only say about the things how I'm seeing things, right? I could not share the case studies and examples. I can share from B2C examples. So what I did, I say, okay, these are the things that I'm seeing. This is happening. Is anybody else seeing that? So I got people into the conversations, and because I don't know even if I'm actually have enough experience and knowledge to do this thing. So I'm gonna invite 15 people that I consider as good in their jobs, they're where I want to be, or they're going in the same direction, and I'm gonna ask them about their experience. And from that, I saw, okay, I'm on the same level, maybe even level ahead of some of them, no matter if they are in the US or the UK or wherever they are. And I say, okay, the next episode, I'm gonna start discussing with them on the same level, right? So you get to know them, they see that you have the confidence to talk about these things. And at the same time, I work with Impact Hub Belgrade when I have, 200 startups in pre-acceleration phase, and I can actually prove my hypothesis. So that it's not all in my head, because before I started Funky Marketing, I had like 260, 70 conversations with people from LinkedIn, where I saw the gap in B2B, and I saw that I can fill it in from with the things that I know from B2C, right? So that's why I decided to go into the B2B. And then I have proven my hypothesis from working with startups, and then basically just sharing all those things, because we didn't have results yet. It got us closing 47 clients on LinkedIn in the first year. And then it got to 87, 88 in a year and a half, just by sharing the things that we do, then sharing the challenges that we have. Then it comes down, we finally got the results, so sharing the results, and then sharing the case studies. And by doing that, also the clients that we have, they say, oh, I'm seeing you doing this and this with some company, maybe your different clients. Is that a good thing that we can implement for us as well? So we got, even more stuff to do for the existing clients. Somebody would say lifetime value, right? I don't call it like that. That's related to the e-commerce, but that's around that topic. So from that perspective, I didn't do the outreach ever from that perspective to sell my services. But I did send a message to each of my connections, say, hey, my name is Nemanja. This is what I do. Welcome into my network. If I can help you out, check on my profile what I'm doing. And then you start a conversation, because I reached out to every single person in my connection. I had 9,000 of them. So I reached out to every single one of them, because I have 2 months to figure out what I'm going to do, right? That's the only goal that I had. And it's mind-blowing even today that I see, startups, and they say, hey, we talk with 50 potential customers. Like, that's just being lazy, right? You have them out there. You can listen to their podcast to find out more in-depth things. You can reach out to them on LinkedIn. Everybody is willing to jump on a call and give you at least 10 minutes of their time, no matter how huge they are. So it's actually happening. And if you are not using that to kind of get a shortcut to get you into where you want to be, then basically you're just lazy and you don't want to get into it. Now, just to add what you said, I'm not against doing the outreach. It wasn't my way of looking at things. I was always somebody who values more the brand, the things. My background is, up to that point, was in lead generation, in performance marketing, in website automation. So basically, this is what I was doing. And I saw that performance marketing works very well. Automation works very well. We were saying at the time that automation works while you sleep, right? It does. And as long as you have the budget. But when you don't have the budget, then you need brand, then you need content, then you need awareness, then you need to create demand to actually make it work. And if you have that thing before you started going into the performance, it means that performance will cost you less. Cost per acquisition will be a lot cheaper that way. So yeah, that's kind of the overview and a few steps that people can take to go and get out of it. Like a lot of people were saying from that like 5 email sequence that we had, they're saying I was looking, I don't know, they had a couple of people that are following. Finally, somebody that I know is doing the stuff that makes sense. That were people were saying me that were receiving those emails.
Nice. Man, this is awesome. A lot of what you're saying resonates a lot. Like we did this with our recruiting agency. We started doing outreach 4 years after we've done some demand generation. Like literally, pretty much everyone in our team was creating content. And eventually, when we did outreach, people would who weren't even interested, they would say, "Hey, I know you. Not this time, but I know you. Cool. Nice to see you here." Yeah,
Yeah,
I
there
think.
is
Yeah.
there is one thing that I want to mention. It might be useful for the people.
Hmm.
And when I work with companies, I employ the same thing, and that is I don't send the welcome message to any new connection on LinkedIn until like 2 weeks after, or sometimes even 2 months or 3 months after, if I get lost in the count. Why? Because I know I'm posting every day. And when I send them the welcome message 2 weeks after, they already know who I am and what I'm about. So I don't need to present myself. I just say, hey, I just wanted to say hi. One time, a lady said, when can we schedule a call? And literally, my message was, hey, just wanted to drop a line and say hi. I didn't even say, if I can help you, check out my profile. That's why I added later. And she said, when can we schedule a call? And I was like, that was too fast. So I asked her what was the thought process behind it. And she said, okay, she was the head of product in a company, and they had a CMO who I think, left the company. So they have the empty position and they wanted to hire an agency or a fractional CMO to help them out. And she was on the lookout. That was her job. So she added me sometimes in that time frame. And when I sent her a message, she checked out my few last posts, see who's reacting to them. Then she checked out my profile and saw who are mutual connections. Then she went into my work experience and checked out if it's relevant. And then all of that combined was enough for her to schedule a call. So just kind of how it goes reverse engineering, I think might be useful for people to see how even fast sometimes decisions are being made.
I have a question. So what do you do if you're someone small? So yeah, I got the conversation. The thing about conversations and getting to know your audience through conversations or direct messages, like reaching out to absolutely everyone. But like for someone who's starting with let's say 300 connections, yeah, somebody who was like, okay, it's 2023, I'm gonna dive into this trend too. What do I do with LinkedIn and very few connections? I write posts every day, but I don't see any reactions because there aren't many people in my network in general.
Yeah, look, number of connections, first to get that out of the context, number of connections doesn't mean that you will have low visibility. Today
Hmm.
on LinkedIn, if you're just starting, you can get a lot more visibilities because there are newbies coming. And I always recommend to people follow the newbies because they get the traction. And especially nowadays, you can see people with 300 connections actually being the top voices, right? I don't want to get into that, but that's what's happening. And from that standpoint, 300 is a lot, right? It's important who are those 300, right? And I always say from the start, have something that you can give to the potential customers that they will see value in it. And there's one simple advice that I say to the people: create a checklist, or go ahead on Google and search for the checklist, like uh, 10 steps to do this and that, or a checklist for, I don't know, for let's say for the content upgrade on their website. How to do content upgrade for the blog on the company's website. It's a specific service. You have the checklist, you know how to do it. Offer it to 100 people. like 10 of them for free. 10 of them will accept that you do the job. At least 8 out of those 10 will pay you. They wouldn't want to do it, to let you do it for free, right? Uh, and that's enough to get you to the first structure. And if you got 100, I think you will sell a lot more to the people. So you will know how it is. Then when you go and you share each step of that checklist, right? Each step is a post. And you say, hey, this is what you do, and this is how you see the problem. This is the first thing that you do. Then when you have that sorted out, this is what you do. And you go and you go and go. And you create even documents for each step. So you can share them as PDF, as whatever it is. At the same time, you need to always get into the engagement and connect with more people, right? When you get 500 and more connections, then nobody knows how many connections you have. So that's the first thing that you need to get from that perspective. And also, one thing that's always here interesting, connect to that your personal story, right? This is the thing that people always kind of skip, because they say, talking about myself. If somebody who has the technical knowledge, they say, come on, do we need to go into that motivation, those kind of stuff? It's not motivation. It's who you are, what's your goal, why are you here, what do you want to achieve in 3 months, right? If you don't have a plan and if you don't have a strategy how to achieve that plan, nothing will happen. So you say, okay, in 3 months, I want to have 3 customers who are paying me that sort of money. So what do I need to do to get there? And you reverse engineering how you go. So I'm going to go to that channel. They're hanging out over there. I need to talk with at least 20 of them to find out, if what I want to sell them is real. And if they would go to buy here or they will do something else. When you have all those information, then you go and you know what are your steps to do. And basically, I always say people skip that step, and it is, getting to know your customers for in depth. Even if you have customers right now, are you actually talking with them on a monthly level and getting the feedback? Majority of people will say no. For some reason, that's how it is. If you are small, having a couple of clients, so that's for those that have clients. Now, go ahead and reach out to them and ask them, are they satisfied with the service? Ask them how you can help them more. Ask them if they go out and look for that service again, what would they look for? What would they type on Google? What would they look for on LinkedIn? They will give you the answers, exactly the answers that you want to get. And they know from their perspective now, like a couple of months in working with you, what did they look for in the beginning and what they would say they're going to look for now. So maybe it's a totally different thing. And usually what happens is they say, the report that you were sending us in the first month was great and we were satisfied with it, but you didn't send it anymore afterwards and we didn't ask for it. Can you send us again that report? We would pay for it. Or they would say, you are working with companies who are in the same industry as we are, and you have this and this data. We don't have it. Okay, and it would mean a lot for us that we get that data. Maybe you can go and do the research and send it once a month. We would pay for it, right? It happens. Actually, those things that I'm mentioning happens on a call. And then from talking to 3 customers that you have, you get a lot more work from them, and you also get something else. Also, a few of them will say, hey, we need to do more when it comes to marketing, maybe communication, maybe different stuff. You've been doing, for example, SEO for us. Can you maybe go and do the advertising as well? We don't want to hire anybody in-house. We trust you. Maybe you can go and hire somebody in your agency, in your company, and do that service for us as well. This is what happened to us in the first 3 months when COVID started, and then the company needed to hire somebody else. It was a painful process for them while it was COVID to hire other people. So they called me and said, Nemanja, we trust you. Maybe you can hire other people, will give you more work to do, will pay you more. So, can you do that? Yes. So that's how you start growing from that example. So there you go. 3 different things that you can do depending on where you are in your, state.
Man, like if this was a paid consultation, which it feels like.
That's all good. That's good because you're gonna send me the video, and I'm gonna publish it on Funky Marketing Podcast as well, and then you're gonna get more exposure.
This is amazing. Okay. I didn't expect I'd be so lucky to have you here more for more than 30 minutes. So, okay, I do have prepared questions. When did you believe in demand generation? When did you first hear about it? And then when did you really believe in it? Because there was a moment when I heard about it and I started doing it, but there was also a moment when it started working for me, and there was a pretty big gap in between. And like to keep up this
So,
confidence and belief wasn't easy.
let me ask you, how did you know that it's working? What happened at that moment?
People came to me and said, "Hey, I need your service." I was like, "Would you like me to explain a bit more about it?" They were like, "No, I know exactly what you do, and I know exactly that this is what I need. I'm cool. I know your processes. Let's do it your way. How do we get going as soon as possible?"
Yeah, same thing with me. The thing is, I started calling it demand creation and then demand generation a lot later. But I've been doing that. It's brand, it's awareness, but I saw that people actually still don't know and confused. They don't know what is awareness, right? What is actually a brand. People still don't know these expressions, and it's easier to explain it if you go and talk about this from that. I basically find out from talking to those 260, 70 people, and I saw that there is a gap because the shift was happening. Companies realize that they lose a lot more money with lead gen model because basically they say what's cost per acquisition, right? And cost per acquisition is only that thing that Google gives you or LinkedIn ads give you, right? They don't calculate the budget that you invest. They don't calculate the things that you need to pay for somebody to create the materials. They don't calculate the payment for the sales. So it's usually not $500. It's actually $10,000. And companies started to realize that. Marketers found a way to actually present those things. I mean, it's still in development, but there was a shift happening because it's not only about extracting what we need from the customers, which is usually the contact information, so we can get them to the calls and try to, when they don't want to try to sell them something that they don't want to buy. It's actually what can we give to them so they come to us when they are ready to buy. And that whole shift is something totally different. I started doing that at the same time when there was Chris Walker starting riding on that wave, and he actually paved the way. It happened usually in more or less the same time. I think Refine Labs is a year older than Funky Marketing, but it was that wave that everybody was going through, and I was like, one person cannot actually change things. You need a whole wave of people doing it, talking about it. And basically, that's when it started in the early 2020 when I started Funky Marketing. And the thing is, this is where the B2C was coming to B2B, right? So there's a lot more humanity, emotions in B2B because before that, people say, we are going after this account. And by account, they meant a factory, a building, right? It's not like there's a group of people included in making a decision inside the company that we need to communicate to. So they realize inside their jobs that they need to do that our service or our product will help them achieve those goals, right? So we need to actually create a relationship with each of these people we have somebody who is making a decision at the top level. We have somebody who is going to use our product, and we have somebody who is making decision about giving the money. So somebody who is in charge for the finances, and we need uh, all those people to realize, to basically eliminate the obstacles for them to actually, say yes, we need to buy that. So from that perspective, we need to give each of them different things. And it happens when you talk to the people and when you actually get and find out how they are thinking about things. Because a lot of people are just, on outside, they don't talk to the customers. They say, this is how we've always done it. We're going to do it again now. Because, for example, to tell you an example, especially in the DACH region, a lot of companies, I say that we can do it in a way you've been always doing it, so like lead gen, or when you will have, this result, you will waste this amount of money, or we can do it in a different way and try that. So they say, okay, we want to try it on our own example. So they always choose to waste money for at least 3 months and see it in their own example. So when you know what you are measuring, you can prove it to them that they're wasting a lot of money. So when they see that, they are smart people. They know their finances, so they can say, okay, this opened my eyes. We are wasting that amount of money. Let's do something else. But not many of them are trusting anybody with, when you go and you tell them, I saw this in 100 companies. They say, I don't care. I care only about us. Right? So you need to go through that process for a couple of months and actually show them how it's working, and then basically reallocate that money that they are wasting somewhere else to the things where they can actually go and do things. But the thing is that, there was a big shift happening, and it's not only that, you or I or somebody else talking about it. There was a huge shift happening because companies realized that things actually needs to change. And it happened a lot because we can actually measure different things. Back in the days, we can only measure marketing based on the leads, right? So actually it happened that, we need to measure marketing on something. What is that something? Actually, we will measure them on leads. And leads meaning the MQL, somebody who downloaded the PDF or sign up for a webinar. So when we say that we're going to measure marketing on leads, then basically we monitor leads from month to month, and we need more and more leads. If you have more and more leads, then we need more and more people in sales to talk to those leads. And it actually goes in the circle. And so, like smart companies realize that and said, okay, we need to change things. But yes, I'm seeing what people are saying on my website. In how did you hear about us? What kind of people reach out to me on LinkedIn? I even saw like there's my name when I go to Google Search Console and what people are typing on Google. They type Nemanja Zivkovic funky marketing, right? So that it means that what I'm doing on LinkedIn, they reach out to me directly, or they go to Google, they search, that's how they find the funky marketing website. So, and that's actually happening. And also the thing that I also saw on YouTube, when you type in Nemanja Zivkovic, it's possible that you will find me, but there's now a football player called the same. So there's a photographer, but people type in Nemanja Zivkovic LinkedIn, and that keyword actually has attraction on YouTube. And I was like, okay, this is something that opened my eyes. So I actually might be doing something that people actually go and search. I know Nemanja from LinkedIn. I'm going to go to Google and I'm going to find, more materials over there.
Well, I can confirm that. I did that. I did search Nemanja funky marketing whenever I was thinking, whenever like somebody was like asking me, so who would be like a good example of people doing demand generation? I would share everyone I know. I would share you. I would share Stephen Pope and like all the cool guys I'm following. And yeah,
Yes,
you're
Steven.
definitely
Steven was actually one of the first people that I interview on a Funky Marketing podcast, and
really.
Yeah. Actually, I think his shorts with him has, it's one of the best shorts that I have on YouTube. But the thing about it, what really opened my eyes is when people said that they got referred to me by Peplaya or by Refine Labs. So I asked the people what actually happened, and they said that they went to Refine Labs, and they didn't have that amount of money to pay for Refine Labs. It was 15K, I think, at that moment, the starting package, or they didn't use some of the CRMs that Refine Labs is working with. They only work with Salesforce and HubSpot. So they say maybe go and check out Nemanja and Funky Marketing. That's what they told them. So because they told them, they are doing a lot of stuff, sort of like us. And so they come to me, but then I say, okay, I want also those that can pay 15K a month, right? They're not good leads for me as well. But it's good that you find out how it goes. So I asked Megan from Refine Labs, what's happening. Is she actually reached out and said, hey, if those are not good, tell me which ones are good so I can refer you more. And on the surface, it looks like we are competitors, right? But below the surface, we both sides know that we cannot do it on our own, right? So everybody needs somebody to guide, but they cannot do it alone. They need both companies to actually spread the word. And now Refine Labs is doing something. I think they're the only company creating the category at the moment and doing the thing. And it's quite interesting to just lay back from afar and look at what they are doing. It's actually inspiring to look at those things.
I can relate to this as well. I have a lot of friends who are like, like they say, so how have you guys been doing this demand generation thing? What is this? Even like nobody knows, and people still don't believe. And I was just like saying this to Eugene literally when we started. I was like, man, I think we're too early in this. I mean, like to tell people our people aren't ready. They need time to understand what it is. So um, we gave it a few years, and literally, yeah, now I can see more and more people from my country, our community, popping up with this demand generation thing. Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah,
it is, and
there
it,
is one thing, and you mentioned it quite well. You were quite early, right? Because the thing that I'm seeing all the time is, you post something and you see only a few people react. For example, on LinkedIn, a post. But then after 6 months, I use the same post, and there was like 30 people reacting. I reuse it after a couple of months again, and then more people react to it. So then you see actually, aha, I was early. So that's also one way to use LinkedIn to actually kind of test things out.
I never thought about reposting my old stuff. I think I should
Oh, people
definitely.
people do that all the time. You should do that. We all repost our old posts, and even let me tell you this now. This is interesting because there are people commenting when I post something for the first time. The second time I post it, I include their conclusions from the comments inside the post. And the same people comment again. They don't remember the post. Right. So that's how it goes. We have the short-term memory, and if something resonates one time with us, it will resonate even more the second time.
Well, I did try to tweak my old posts and try to rephrase them. At least I thought I should rephrase it like it has to be original content, blah blah blah.
I mean, you improve a couple of things for sure.
Yeah.
Or you add a photo, right, or something else.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Photos work so well. Like, what is this craziness? Like, photos, man, they work so well. Like, literally, if I think I taught my audience to remember my name and only like the post with my pictures with my face. That when I post without a picture, I get extremely like fewer likes and reactions, like maybe 30 or 40, and with a picture around 100 or something.
Yeah, I don't know, like selfies work on LinkedIn. I'm not a guy who loves selfies, and I never posted more selfies in my life than now. But I usually accept, to go to the offline events and those kind of things where they can take a professional photo of me while doing something, and I actually use those photos. So that's kind of the way I'm using, different things that I'm doing to kind of cheat the system in that way.
As a LinkedIn user myself, I can say that I like seeing other people's photos. It looks more natural than without one. I can have some fantasies about their intentions and like their personality this way.
Yeah, I mean, look, videos are extremely important as well. Maybe we look at the reach and it's lower than the other thing, but if you look at actually the views, it's the same thing as the likes for like photos. But the thing is that text post and post with a photo, AI can create the text. We don't know it's actually copying somebody, or it's their own thoughts and words. But with video, they see you and they hear you. How do you smile? What's your accent? Are you confident talking about the things? And maybe it doesn't appear like it's working, but it's working. People see it, listen to those things, and it actually, I encourage a lot more people to do it, because I think in the next I don't know, a couple of months or half a year, however it is, I think reels are coming to LinkedIn. It needs to happen at one moment. I don't know when it will happen, but it needs to happen, because that's kind of how it goes. LinkedIn is the only platform that doesn't have
But there
something
were
which are like
stories.
reels. Yeah, stories is the bullshit. They were bullshit from the start.
What's the difference between reels and stories? Excuse me, my ignorance. Hold on.
Reels stay for a long time, and
Okay,
those are
okay.
like videos. LinkedIn has now videos up to 10 minutes, but Reels is something that has much more visibility and
Mm.
stays on a profile. Stories disappear in 24 hours. That's not how the LinkedIn algorithm works. LinkedIn is a slow platform. It's not a fast one. When you consume, like on Twitter, you consume a lot of content. If nobody sees this now, they won't see it in 50 minutes as well. So it all depends. So from that perspective, I think videos needs to come. And now it's good, for example, like with creator profile, you can choose which thing people see when they come to your profile. Do they see first the text post, the videos, or the photos? So if you have like a lot of videos and you have meaningful things that you say, you can just say, I want people to see the videos first when they come to the profile. So from that perspective, that's good.
That's cool. I didn't know that's what it does. So you did say it's a slow platform, and there was one moment I don't remember when, maybe 3 years ago, when they cut the amount of people you can add from like 100 per day to 100 per week or something. And this made it a little bit slower. I can see where they're coming from with this idea. They want it to be like they want people to build actual relationship. Yeah, so they put a actual limit. Like you can't physically build more relationship with more than 100 people a week physically. Yeah, in real life. So that's, I can understand that, but um, but it's kind of a problem, isn't it?
I mean, it's not. All depends. Like, let me tell you, back in the days, what you could do is you can share a link from your company website, just clicking on the LinkedIn button, and share it in 70 LinkedIn groups. Just one click. And that was a spam, but it was allowed spam, right? So, yeah, and it's the same thing that people were doing with sending invites and connections and those kind of things. So, from that perspective, they're just, limiting spamming on the platform.
Man, about the spam, we have to give it some some time. We need to devote some lifetime to this. So every time I get a spamming message, I go like, dude, like you only have like 100 connection requests per week. Couldn't you read my profile a little bit better? Like you're losing connection requests.
Yeah, I mean, what I really don't like is people including messages in reaching out, only when there's a specific thing, and they say, hey, Nemanja, talk to, for example, Alex, and he told me to that you are the person that I need to talk to for that and that. But usually it's, hey, Nemanja, I saw you liked Alex post. or I saw you added a comment on that one, and I have no idea. You comment and like on so many things that I have no idea what did I do, and it's
Yeah.
basically just something to lure you into accepting the connection request. But at this moment, I don't accept connection requests from like anybody that has sales, business development, SDR, lead generation, whatever it is. I stopped doing it because the last 30 that I got, they're all, send me a message right away as I accepted to try to sell me something. And a lot of them don't even realize that I deleted the connection and the message and anything. They don't realize that. They start sending me more messages until I block.
There is this lady who's been coming back to me for like past 5 years or so. I delete her. She comes back with the same script this for 5 years or something. I'm impressed. Like,
Yeah,
oh, okay, cool. Let me see how long are you gonna be doing this for. That's some persistence here.
yeah, me follow up until they die. That's how they say. But it's usually over the email.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh man, very, very valuable to speak to you. And Nemanja, thank you so much for doing this with us.
Thank you, and thank you, Jean, for calling me. And I mean, it was a pleasure to to talk. It's not in person, but kind of it
Close.
is, and to
It
get to
is.
know each other and talk about the things. And thank you for the all kind words and everything. I mean, I'm always grateful and always there to help if my help is needed, as they say.
Yeah, it is. Thank you.